working for DC and Marvel is something I primarily did very early in my career, and it was the fulfilling of a dream in a sense, because I grew up reading comics featuring these iconic characters the same as you probably did, and most everyone did who works in comics and the fans. I think the biggest difference for me today is that I balance working on something I didn't create, like the X-Files, by creating original things that I fortunately am able to publish, things creator-owned comics, we call them, like Image comics and such, that I get to publish. So there's a balance that way, and I don't feel like my entire career is beholden to providing words for company-owned characters to speak. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I think it's fun and it's great. But that's the biggest difference. In terms of just the types of writing I get to do, it's a little bit more, I don't want to say sophisticated, because there are a lot of very sophisticated superhero comics out there, certainly. I just mean to say it might be a little more, what's the right word? It doesn't feel like a comic book when I tell these stories, whereas when I write something with superheroes in it, no matter how mature or ambitious the scope might be of a comic, it's still superheroes. It's just a different mindset, a different hat that I wear. But the biggest difference is just how I let it, the balance I seek in my career at this point. Yeah. What do I think the character's future is? Well, the new 52 iteration of Firestorm was essentially ended, right? I mean, because like the whole line. I mean, a lot of those. So, and to be honest with you, I haven't paid that much attention to the character as he's popped up. Is it in the Flash he's popped up, right? Yeah. I haven't paid all that much attention. I like Firestorm just generally. I like all the different versions of the character that have been done. I had a great time working on it, and I think it's great to see, in a general sense, how this shared universe is translating into the different productions that DC puts out, from the Flash to Arrow to Gotham, and I like that you can see that continuity. Similarly, I love the Marvel shared universe movies, or rather, the ones that I see anyway. I just love the concept of it. But in terms of what I think Firestorm will mean, I think it's great that people are responding well to Firestorm, because his comics tend to get canceled a lot. So it's nice to see the character find a fan base, because usually the comics don't last very long. Well, with Marvel, I would say the first book I ever wrote, Slingers, was a Spider-Man spin-off book I wrote in the late 1990s. It was the first thing I ever did for the company. And I think that was probably the most personal to who I was. I mean, who I was at the time. It's not so personal to me now, many years later. But at that time, it very much was what I wanted to, the types of stories I wanted to tell, just objectively. So I would nominate that. And when it comes to my DC work, which I think there's a little bit less of, what were my favorite DC stories? The things that I've gotten to do on Batman were a lot of fun, like Joker's Asylum, starring Scarecrow. That was a lot of fun. I was fond of how that came out. I also got to work with Wildstorm back in the day when they were owned by DC Comics, so I got to do some fun things there, like Cybernary 2.0. So that's it's funny. I don't really identify with Marvel and DC so much as it's my experience I can speak to, but I don't really think about what they mean to my voice or my career as much as the past, Yeah, I have a new book, a new title that's launching in December from Image Comics called Rockstars. It's a supernatural rock and roll thriller, and I'm very excited about that. Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome. You did fine. Yeah.